What's up guys, Kellen back here with Inside Out Precision, and today we're going to be talking about a very common mistake, and that is face pressure or string pressure from your face. This is something that will wreak havoc when you're trying to tune through paper, as well as cause really bad inconsistencies in your point of impact downrange, because it's very hard to replicate the exact same amount of pressure every time. So I've got my little Genesis bow here just to kind of demo. So I'm going to show you what proper face pressure should look like. So ideally, you come back, you're going to hit that draw length, hand comes into the face, the string touches my nose, touches the tip of my nose and right by the corner of my mouth, but I'm not actually burying my face onto it. I'm making contact, but I'm not pushing on the string. Now, this video was actually prompted because I was trying to tune a bow with a guy earlier who his draw length was a little bit long and his peep height was a little bit low, and he had a ton of pressure on that string on his cheek. I mean, you could see that string just digging in, and I kept telling him, you know, we gotta get rid of that face pressure because we just kept getting a tail left tear through paper. He said he was, you know, I've been doing this for years, didn't really want to listen to me. So finally I said, okay, just humor me here and pull that string away from your face completely and shoot, and bullet hole. So face pressure is a big deal. So I'm going to show you kind of what it looked like today. So what I saw today was he came back and it was this. So that string was on the side of his nose, his face was buried against that string, and you could literally see the string on his, you know, cutting into his face. Now you have to remember that on most compound bows, especially hunting models, 80 to 90% let off is the norm now. So if I'm pulling 70 pounds and I have, you know, 85% let off, I'm only holding like 10 or 11, I don't know the exact math, but it's not a lot of weight, maybe 8 to 10 pounds at full draw, which is not very much pressure on that string. So it takes almost nothing to manipulate the starting point of that string. Now for a right-handed shooter, what happens is, I'm gonna kind of switch it up here to right-handed. When I'm pushing on that string, using my finger as the string here, when I'm pushing on that, it's actually gonna, when I release, it's gonna kick that string out around my face, and then it overcorrects back to the left. So it kind of comes out around my face and then whoop, whips back to the left, causing that tail left tear. For a left-handed shooter, it's gonna be just the opposite. It's gonna start left and overcorrect to the right. Now there's three things that I see that usually cause face pressure. And the first is a draw length that is too long. So if your draw length is too long and you come back and your hand stops back here and that string, you know, in order to get into my peep sight, that string is gonna have to make contact with my face like that. The second thing, and probably the most common, is a peep sight that is too low. So whereas a peep height that's correct, I can come in, I just come in and touch the tip of my nose on the string and I'm looking right through it. If my peep sight is too low, once I'm there, I gotta duck into it like this. So you can see how that my face and my nose press up against it. So if you have a piggy nose at full draw, you probably just need to raise your peep height and it's gonna alleviate that face pressure. Now the third one is kind of a combination of draw length and just an anchor that's incorrect. So people that tend to anchor too high up on their face, like up by their ear here, are usually gonna get some face pressure. Just because that string comes up and hits my cheekbone here, as opposed to sitting kind of in this little, you know, crease between my nose and my corner of my mouth right there. So those three things are what's gonna cause face pressure. It may not be a draw length thing, it may just be a positioning of your head. You may need to pick it up a little bit more and get your face on the string, but you can kind of play around with that if you're having issues with this. So I actually have my setup here. So there's the paper right there. And I'm actually gonna shoot a couple arrows. The first one's gonna be with, you know, how I just normally shoot, normal face pressure in my peep sight. And the next one's gonna be everything else being the same in terms of grip and release and all that, but I'm gonna bury my face onto that string and we're gonna see the difference through paper. And again, this is only at 10 feet. So let me grab my bow here. Here's my arrow. So this first one is gonna be with just normal, what I would consider proper amount of face pressure. perfect bullet hole. Gotta grab that arrow. And then this one is going to be with way too much face pressure. So this would be like the one I saw earlier. So come in, smash into that string, and shoot. Now, I'm gonna show you the difference here. Set my bow down. Okay, so come in here, see if we can get a good bead on this. So here is my hole with normal face pressure. That is my hole with a ton of face pressure. So that's, might be hard to tell on camera, but that's a solid inch and a quarter rip as compared to pretty much a perfect bullet hole. So you can see how much that affects it. It's much easier to replicate a soft touch every time than getting the exact same amount of pressure every time. So, you know, lots of times when you're having inconsistencies through paper, if it's not your grip and it's not your release, a lot of time it's that face pressure. You're smashing into it too much. Now, sometimes people are just used to shooting that way. They've been doing it for, 40 years, kind of like that guy today. We were able to get the bow to shoot a bullet hole, but we had to, move his rest way inside. We had to put a bunch of twists in the yokes. And it just makes a lot more violent. Basically, there's a lot of opposing forces there when that arrow comes out of the bow, and it's just not the cleanest way to get an arrow to shoot. So thought I'd make a little video on that today. If you've had any experience with this or need help with it, feel free to reach out. I've even seen like big bushy beards on guys where they're not smashing their face into it, but they've got a really big beard, and just that little pressure from that beard up against the string will cause a slight tail left tear, as opposed to when they just kind of hold it out away from their face and shoot. Now, obviously you don't want to tune holding it away from your face because you're going to have your face on the string, but you want the least amount of face pressure possible. If you do have a big bushy beard, my advice is this. Let me find my little Genesis bow here. So if you do have a big bushy beard, when you come into your anchor, rather than coming into it from the side and pushing up against it, come into it, kind of push it out in front of you and come into it from the front. So the string kind of comes in between the hairs rather than pushing up against all of them. Seems to really help. The only sketchy part is that if your D-loop catches one of your beard hairs and fires, you're gonna feel that hair pop out. But just thought that was a cool little demonstration for you guys. You can see, that was only here at like 7 or 8 feet, and it threw my tear like that far to the right. So just something I thought I'd share with you. If you have any more questions on that, please feel free to reach out. Inside_out_precision on Instagram, or hit that comment section below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us out. Happy Easter to everybody who's at home right now. I know this is kind of a weird one. I don't think there's as many family gatherings and church and all that because of this COVID that's going around. But hopefully you're having a good day. The weather's supposed to be beautiful here. Hopefully it's the same for you. So as usual, remember, precision is the decision. Keep them in the middle, and I'll see you on the range.